Want to speak real Japanese from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at JapanesePod101.com.
Hi everyone, I'm Motoko. Today I'm going to talking about the usage of "たいです", meaning I want to do something. Do you want to go to Japan? Do you have anything you want to do in Japan? Can you say that in Japanese? After this lesson, you can say that in Japanese. So I'm going to talking about the sentence pattern with "たいです" and then some example here. So let's go. So first sentence is 私は寿司を食べます meaning I eat sushi. Let's break it down. 私 means I, wa is topic marking particle, and sushi is the Japanese traditional food. O is object marking particle, and then 食べます means eat in mas form. So to change this form into I want to do, we need to get rid of this mas and add たいです instead. So we get the new sentence here. 私は寿司が食べたいです meaning I want to eat sushi. So we have 3 points to use this たいです form. First one is, of course, you need to use たいです at the end. Second point is you need to get rid of mas from mas form of verb and put the rest of the verb before たいです. And the third is this object marking particle o, replace o with ga. So ga become object marker in this sentence. So with たいです sentence pattern, we have one exception. So this たいです is only used for my desire, not someone's desire, my desire. So the subject or topic is always watashi. Okay, let's move on to the examples. The first one is I want to drink matcha green tea. 私は抹茶が something です. So let's break it down. 私 means I, and then wa means topic marking particle, and matcha means grounded green tea. You know the matcha as a tea ceremony, and then object marking particle ga. So the missing part is to drink. So to drink is 飲みます in Japanese. So can you find 飲みます from here? Here. So according to the second point, we need to get rid of mas and then add たい. So you will get 飲みたいです Altogether, 私は抹茶が飲みたいです I want to drink matcha green tea. Second, I want to look at shrines. 私は神社が something です So 私は is the same part. 神社 means shrine. So shrine is the building for Shintoism, and then Shintoism is one of the common religion in Japan. So the missing part is looking at. So looking at is 見ます in Japanese. So can you find 見ます here? Here. So the same rule. Get rid of ます and add たい. So you get 見たいです Altogether, 私は神社が見たいです I want to look at shrines. The third one, for adult. I want to drink sake rice wine. 私はお酒が something です So 私は is the same part. お酒 is usually translated as rice wine or just sake. So it's one of the Japanese alcohol made of rice. It tastes sweet but really strong. Not really strong. So the missing part is to drink. Do you think it's familiar? Yes, we have here. So get rid of mas and then add たい so you can get 飲みたいです Altogether, 私はお酒が飲みたいです I want to drink sake. For your information, in Japan, you can drink alcohol, but you should be 20 years old or older. The fourth one, I want to do ski. 私はスキーが something です。私は I. Ski means skiing. Object marking particle. And the missing part is do. So in Japanese, to ski is スキーをします。So the します is the verb. So can you find します here? Maybe this one. So get rid of mas and then get tie here. So you get したいです。Altogether. 私はスキーがしたいです。So in Japan, Hokkaido's Niseko is really famous for skiing. So the second last one, I want to go to Japan. That's the basic one, right? 私は日本に something です。So 私は is the same part. 日本 means Japan. And then, different particle, but that's okay. So 日本 is a destination to go. So when you say to go, you need a different particle, に. This is a direction particle. So the missing part is to go. To go is 行きます in Japanese. So 行きます is from here, this one. So get rid of mas and add tai. So you get 行きたいです。So I want to go to Japan would be 私は日本に行きたいです。The last one is I want to go in hot spring. 私は温泉に something です。So 私は is the same part, I. And 温泉 means hot spring. Because Japan has lots of mountains, it also has lots of hot springs. So you can find the best one in Japan. So ni is the same particle as the previous one, the direction particle ni, and the missing part is go in or enter. Go in or enter is 入ります in Japanese. So can you find 入ります in Japanese here? Yes, this one. So get rid of mas, the same rule, and get type. So you get 入りたいです。私は温泉に入りたいです。That's all for today. How was the lesson? I hope you enjoyed this lesson and that you can express what you want in Japanese. Do you have any question? If you have any questions, please leave the comment below. And if you want to learn Japanese more, please visit JapanesePod11.com and get a free lifetime account. じゃあまた. See you again.
Hi, welcome to Introduction to Japanese. My name is Alicia, and I'm joined by...
Hi everyone, I'm Risa.
In this lesson, you'll learn the basics of Japanese grammar. Word order refers to the order in which words are structured to form a sentence in a given language. Consider the English sentence, I ate an apple. But first, let's remove the article an here for simplicity, so we're just left with I ate apple. The basic word order for English is subject, verb, object, or SVO for short. If we break down the English sentence, I ate apple, we can see that the subject I is presented first, followed by the verb ate, and then finally the object apple is positioned last. This is the basic word order for sentences in English.
Now, let's compare the same sentence, I ate an apple, in Japanese. 私がリンゴを食べました. Like before, let's remove the particles to keep it simple. So we're just left with the words. If we break down the Japanese sentence, we get the subject, 私, meaning I. Then comes the object, リンゴ, meaning apple. And finally, we have the verb, 食べました, meaning ate. The word order for Japanese then is subject, object, verb, or SOV for short.
In both languages, the subject is presented first. In English, though, it's followed by the verb and then the object. compared to the object being first and the verb last in Japanese. The same sentence in Japanese is essentially I apple ate, subject first, then object, and verb last, SOV. This is the basic word order for sentences in Japanese.
Okay, let's move on to the next section.
English is what is called a subject-prominent language. This simply means that the subject is slightly more important than other components in the sentence. It's the key piece of information other components in the sentence relate to. Who is doing the action is slightly more important than what is being done or which object it's being done to in English. If we had to slowly remove pieces of information from a sentence while trying to keep its essence intact, logically we would do so in order of least important to most important. If we were to omit the subject, we would get ate an apple, which sounds strange. On the other hand, if we were to omit the object instead, the sentence would become I ate. Even though in each instance we omitted a piece of information, the reason I ate sounds less strange is because we've yet to break any grammatical rules, and so there's still potential for the sentence fragment to become a complete sentence and to become grammatically correct. Since the latter is logical, this indicates that the subject is more important than the object in English. The same would have been true if we had omitted the verb. Since the subject is the integral component in the sentence, this makes English a subject-prominent language.
Japanese, on the other hand, is a topic-prominent language. Unlike English, the focus of each Japanese sentence is the topic, not the subject. Essentially, the ate an apple portion, リンゴを食べました, is the main focus of the sentence, where I is deemed less important and can be omitted.
In fact, if it's obvious what the subject is, or if it's already been established, it's quite normal to omit the subject from the conversation altogether in Japanese. Let's look at this aspect in a bit more detail. More often than not, if you wanted to say, I ate an apple in Japanese, you would not say,
私がリンゴを食べました.
Instead, you would more likely say, apple ate in Japanese.
リンゴを食べました.
Since Japanese is a topic-prominent language, the information to be shared is the act of eating the apple. Less important is the subject, which is omitted altogether. Most Japanese sentences are constructed and spoken like this in real life. In most situations, such as a one-on-one conversation, it's clear that the person who's speaking is the subject. In cases where it's obvious who or what the subject is, it's almost guaranteed that the subject will be omitted. And so, you're left with
リンゴを食べました.
On the other hand, when it's unclear who or what the subject is, or if you wanted to place emphasis on the subject, like if you wanted to declare from a group of people that it was you who ate the apple, then you would include the subject.
私がリンゴを食べました.
But more often than not, most sentences spoken in daily Japanese conversation can be spoken without including the subject at all, particularly if that subject is you.
箱を開けました. 電車で帰りました.
Knowing this, we can easily express any simple action in Japanese using just the object and the verb. Try to create the sentence, I ate a hot dog, from these sets of words.
食べました. ホットドッグを.
Okay, got it? The object goes first, so let's put hot dog here. And the verb goes last, so let's put ate at the end. Finally, we connect them using the appropriate particle. And that's it.
ホットドッグを食べました.
Which means, I ate a hot dog in Japanese.
ホットドッグを食べました.
You can create any basic sentence like this in Japanese if you simply know the word for the object and the verb in Japanese. Well done! Let's wrap up this lesson by recapping what we've learned. In this lesson, you learned that Japanese sentences are formed using a subject-object-verb, or SOV, word order. The most important aspect of Japanese sentences is not the subject of the sentence, but the topic. Most sentences spoken in Japanese will not actually contain a subject, especially if that subject is obvious, like when it's yourself, the speaker. And lastly, you can create basic sentences in Japanese by putting the object first and the verb last. We've covered only the very basics of Japanese grammar. If you're interested in learning more, check out our Learn Basic Japanese video series. In that course, we teach you useful phrases while covering the fundamentals of Japanese grammar. Bye!
Bye!
Want to speak real Japanese from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at JapanesePod101.com.
Hi everyone, I'm Motoko. Today I'm talking about family members. Do you have any brothers or sisters, or do you have grandmothers and grandfathers? Today I'm going to talking about the vocabulary relating to family members. And then after this video, I hope you can introduce your family in Japanese. So let's go. So imagine you were this panda. Okay, this panda. So it says watashi means I. And then here is your sisters and brothers. So in Japanese, we have older brothers, sisters, and then younger brothers, sisters. So here is ani, older brother, ane, older sister, and ototo, younger brother, and then imoto, younger sister. And go up to the here, and then here you have your parents. Father is chichi, and mother is haha. And go up, and then each your father and mother would have parents. So here, sofu means grandfather, and then sobo means grandmother. And then here, mother's side is the same. Sofu means grandfather, and then sobo means grandmother. So please note that these family terms are only used for your own family. So when you were talking about your own family, you can use these words. But for someone else's family, you need to use different terms. So please be careful. So today I prepared some sample sentences. So let's have a look. And let me read through whole the paragraph first. 父と母と祖母と弟と妹がいます。祖母は98歳です。父と母は東京にいます。弟は医者です。This is about my family. Can you get any family members in this paragraph? So first you would notice 父 and 母 and maybe 祖母. So do you remember? 父 means father and 母 means mother, and 祖母 means grandmother. And here 弟 and 妹. Do you remember 弟 and 妹? So 弟 is younger brother and 妹 is younger sister. So what family member do I have? Please guess. The answer is I have father, mother, grandmother, younger brother, and younger sister. So move on to the next sentence. Here you would find the same word, sobo. So this sentence is talking about my grandmother. 祖母は98歳です。祖母 means grandmother. は is a topic marking particle. 98 means 98. And 歳 is a counter for age. And this means is, am, and are. The next sentence. 父と母は東京にいます。Can you find the family terms in this sentence? 父 and 母. Did you notice that Tokyo meaning Tokyo? So this sentence is 父, father, to, connecting particle and, 母, mother, and then wa, topic marking particle, Tokyo, the name of city, Tokyo, ni, location particle, ni, and imasu, is, or to exist. And the last sentence, 弟は医者です. Can you find 弟 here? Meaning younger brother. So 弟 younger brother は topic marking particle. 医者. Do you know this noun? Meaning medical doctor. This is. So my brother is a medical doctor. In part 2, I'm talking about someone's family. We went through how to introduce my own family, and in part 2, we will talk about someone else's family. So please note that these words are only used for someone's family, not your own family, okay? So imagine Yuka is here, cute panda, and then she has older brothers, sisters, younger brother and sister, and then father and mother, and then grandfathers and then grandmothers. Older brother is Oni-san, not this long sound, Oni-san. And older sister is One-san, not here, long sound, One-san. And younger brother, Ototo-san. This also has long sound here, Ototo-san. And younger sister, Imoto-san. This also has long sound here, Imoto-san. And go up, and here, father, Oto-san. This also has long sound here, Oto-san. And mother, Oka-san. Long sound here, Oka-san. And go up, father's side, grandfather, Oji-san. Note this long sound, Oji-san. And grandmother, Oba-san. Note this long sound, Oba-san. And mother's side, the same word, grandfather, Oji-san. And grandmother, Oba-san. And in part 2 as well, I prepared some sample sentences here. So let me read through the whole paragraph. ゆかさんの家族に会いました。お父さんとお母さんと弟さんがいます。ゆかさんのお父さんは60歳です。ゆかさんの弟さんは名古屋にいます。Can you get family terms here? So first line says ゆかさんの Yukas 家族に family 会いました I met. Here you would find family term お父さん means father and と and お母さん mother と connecting particle 弟さん younger brother, not older brother, younger brother が subject particle and います exists or she has. And the third sentence ゆかさんの Yukas お父さん father は topic marking particle 60歳です 60 years old. And the last sentence ゆかさんの Yukas 弟さんは means younger brother 名古屋に This is the name of city in Japan 名古屋に location particle います exist or live in. How was the lesson? I hope you enjoyed the lesson. If you have any questions, please leave the comment below. If you want to learn more Japanese, please visit JapanesePod11.com and get free lifetime account. Thanks for watching. じゃあまたね. Bye.
Hi everyone, Hiroko here. Welcome to Ask a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common Japanese questions. The question for this lesson is, should I use o or go as an honorific prefix? You have probably seen words like okane, gojusho, and learned that o and go are both honorific prefixes to indicate a high politeness level. However, you may be not sure about when you should use o and when you should use go. So what's going on here? Firstly, I have to explain wago and kango. Wago refers to original Japanese words, and kango are Japanese words of Chinese origin. Do you remember the kun and on readings from the previous lesson? Basically, original Japanese words or wago are read in kun reading, and Chinese origin words or kango are read in on reading. Now let's get back to today's topic, o and go. Basically, o is used in wago or original Japanese words. For example, ouchi meaning house, omizu meaning water, okane meaning money. Also, it's common to use o to refer to your family members. Otou-san, oka-san, one-san, oni-san, and so on. On the other hand, go is used with kango or Chinese origin words. They are usually compounds made up of two kanji. For example, ご家族, which means family, ご両親, parents, and ご兄弟, siblings. However, there are some exceptions such as お時間, お電話, and お料理. They are kango, but they take o. I recommend you only worry about the exceptions after you get used to the basic rule. Here's one more example. Let's think about namae and shimei. They both mean name. Is namae kango or wago? Na and mae are both kun readings, so namae is wago, even though it's compound of two kanji. So o must be chosen. How about shimei? Shi and mei are own readings, aren't they? Therefore, shimei is kango or Chinese origin word, and it takes go before it. I hope this makes sense to you. Do you have any more questions? Leave them in the comments below and I will try to answer them. またね!
Welcome to Learn Japanese Grammar, Absolute Beginner. In this video series, you'll learn basic Japanese grammar patterns and phrases through easy-to-follow audio and visual cues. Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
はじめまして。はじめまして。
Hajimemashite. Can we hear it a little bit slower?
はじめまして。
Great, and one more time at natural speed.
はじめまして。
And this means nice to meet you.
Right. You can use this with anyone you meet for the first time.
Right, and that would be the first thing you say.
はじめまして。
Hajimemashite.
はじめまして。私は香りです。
In this lesson, you'll learn a very important sentence pattern, your first sentence pattern in Japanese.
Yes. Okay, so the pattern is
A is B. That is the meaning in English. For example, I am Jessie. You are Naomi. She is Jennifer. We have A, which is the item being talked about, and then we have B, which is what we identify it as. So in Japanese, how would we say A is B?
A は B です。
One more time.
A は B です。
Let's break it down. So we have A followed by
は
and then B followed by.
です。
Okay, so the pattern one more time.
A は B です。
So where we have A and B, we can start inserting different words to make sentences.
Yes. 私は香りです。
Watashi means I, and kaori is her name, Kaori. So we just put both of those into the A is B structure. A は B です。
And we get 私は香りです。
I'm Kaori, or my name is Kaori.
You can leave off 私は and simply say your name plus です。
So for example, if your name is Ken, you can say either
私はケンです。
or simply
ケンです。
to say I'm Ken. Okay, so up until now we've been using names to complete this A は B です pattern. But we can insert other nouns, right?
Yes. For example, in place of B, you can also say your job. 私はパイロットです。
Which means I am a pilot. Can we hear the same phrase a little more slowly?
私はパイロットです。
And once again at natural speed.
私はパイロットです。
Okay, great.
私は香りです。
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
これは水ですか?
In this lesson, you'll learn how to make a question.
Which is very easy.
Yes, you'll be surprised.
You learned how to make an A is B sentence. A は B です。
That's right. For example,
これは水です。
kore is this and mizu is water. So altogether this means this is water.
これは水です。
So this is just a regular statement. You're just stating a fact, right?
Right.
Now, what if we want to ask a question? Say you have a glass of clear liquid in front of you and you want to know, is this water? For all you know, it could be 7-Up or something else.
Well, to turn a statement into a question, add か to the end.
Just one sound, ka. Let's try it. So the sentence
これは水です。
becomes
これは水ですか?
これは水ですか? Is this water? So sitting in front of you is a plate of something that looks like cookies. If you know they are sweets, you can say,
これはお菓子です。
but say, for example, if you don't know what they are and want to ask if they are sweets, you can say,
これはお菓子ですか?
are these sweets? Remember, all you need to do is add ka to a statement to make it a question.
That's it. これは水ですか? はい、そうです。はい、そうです。
What's the first word?
はい、yes.
And,
そうです。
which literally means?
It is so. That's right.
Hey, that's an easy word to remember. It is so, this. That's one word that's probably the word you'll use the most.
はい、そうです。はい、そうです。いいえ、違います。いいえ、違います。
Ie means,
No,
and chigaimasu means,
that's wrong.
right. Chigaimasu also means no, if you were to translate it into English. But really, literally, it means that is different.
Yeah.
Or that is wrong. It's different. That's not the case. So basically, it's like saying no, someone is wrong about something, or like a proposed option or something is incorrect, and it's the opposite. Let's give an example. Naomi sensei.
はい。
それはダイヤモンドですか?
これ? いいえ、違います。
Naomi sensei, is that a diamond?
No, it's not.
You see, it's really no, but it's basically that's different. It's different. It's not a diamond. It's something else. It's something different.
いいえ、違います。
Cues. Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
これ、それ、あれ。
In this lesson, we're looking at causal adult words.
So, how do we explain what they are then?
Well, causal adult words are words that indicate what you're talking about. In Japanese, there are three main categories: this, that, and that over there, and one category for questions. So this is,
これ、
and that is.
それ。
So when it comes to causal adult words, remember that words that start with ko indicate something or someone close by. これ, this. Words that start with so indicate something or someone a little further away. それ, that. There are some others though too, aren't there?
Yes, like あれ。
are also means that, but it's used to refer to something far away from both the speaker and the listener, so it's over there.
Right. And どれ?
Now, causal adult words that start with do are always the question words. They're like
Always.
WH words in English. So どれ means which or which one. Let's go over those causal adult words again.
これ、
This one,
それ、
that one near you,
あれ。
that one over there.
どれ?
Which one?
これ、それ、あれ。これは何ですか? これは何ですか?
All right, let's break that down. First word is
これ
this,
は
the topic marking particle.
何
What,
です
the copula.
か?
The question marking particle.
これは何ですか?
What is this?
Right.
All right, we have this, but what if I wanted to talk about that?
You mean that one over there?
I mean, that thing that's right there within your reach.
That would be それ for you.
Sore means that, close to the person you're speaking to. And how about that thing that's way over there?
あれ
So, you're not sure if what I'm holding in my hand now is medicine, so you would ask me,
それは薬ですか?
is that medicine? And then I would say, はい、これは薬です. Which means, yes, this is medicine. So, Naomi sensei, what is this?
これは何ですか?
And what is that? The one right in front of you.
それは何ですか?
And what is that one over there?
あれは何ですか? これは何ですか?
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
今何時ですか? 今何時ですか?
What time is it? Let's break it down.
今
Now.
何時
What time?
です
Copula.
か?
The question marker.
今何時ですか?
What time is it now?
I think this is the most common expression to ask the time.
That's right. And this is pretty formal in the sense that you say ima at the beginning. You say now. Because when you ask the time, you usually mean right now, right? So you can omit ima and it'll still have the same meaning.
何時ですか?
What time is it? Same thing, right?
Right. And of course, in a casual situation, you can drop ですか and say 何時?
And you know, it's funny. In that case, personally, from personal experience, when you're speaking casually, you tend to add the ima at the beginning. So it would become
今何時?
right. And that's the phrase you hear the most, at least when you're speaking casually.
今何時ですか? 4時です.
Let's do the time. Let's learn all of the hours. All right, so what's 1 o'clock?
1時,
2 o'clock?
2時,
3 o'clock?
3時,
4 o'clock?
4時,
5 o'clock?
5時,
6 o'clock?
6時,
7 o'clock?
7時, or 7時,
8 o'clock?
8時,
9 o'clock?
9時,
10 o'clock?
10時,
11 o'clock?
11時,
12 o'clock?
12時.
There we go. Now you can count all of the hours.
But you have to be careful about 4 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 7 o'clock. The pronunciation is a bit irregular.
Irregular. Okay, so let's go over them again. What's 4 o'clock?
4時,
Okay, I see what you're saying. So normally the number 4 is,
4,
but when it's 4 o'clock, it becomes,
4時.
I see. So the yon becomes yo.
And you can't say 7時 either.
Ah, that's right. Because another way of saying 4 is she, right? And you can't say she ji. Doesn't make any sense. No one will know what time you're talking about. So what's the problem with 7 o'clock?
I think people usually say 7時 in a conversation, but at the train station or airport, you might hear 7時,
9 o'clock.
9時. It's not 9時.
Ah, 9 is normally
9,
Q, but 9 o'clock,
9時.
it becomes ku, kuji. All right, so let's practice some polite conversation. What time is it now?
今、何時ですか?
It's 4 o'clock.
4時です. And in a casual situation,
What time is it?
今何時?
It's 4 o'clock.
4時. 4時です.
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
トイレはどこですか?
So, what's our grammar point today?
今日は asking the location. 留学センターはどこですか?
Where is the study abroad office? Let's break it down.
留学センタ
Study abroad office
ーは
Topic marking particle.
どこ
Where?
です
The copula.
か
The question marking particle.
留学センターはどこですか
Where's the study abroad office? So Naomi Sensei, where's the bathroom?
Do you want me to say it in Japanese? Okay. トイレはどこですか
Where's the bathroom?
トイレ is bathroom.
Alright, that's fine, Naomi Sensei, but sometimes you're in the dark, right? You need to find out what the lights are, or else you're gonna stay in the dark.
Light in Japanese is 電気
Denki. It also means electricity, right?
Mhm.
So, Naomi Sensei, where are the lights?
電気はどこですか
Where are the lights? But, before we turn the lights on, we need to get into the room. But, I don't have the key. Do you know where it is? Where's the key?
鍵 is key.
Kagi.
鍵はどこですか
Where's the key?
トイレはどこですか私はここです
In this lesson, we'll be looking at kosoado words. Kosoado words are words that indicate what you are talking about.
Words like this and that are some examples.
Now, the reason we call them kosoado words is because they all start with either ko, so, a, or do. This prefix tells us the location or the object's distance relative to the speaker. The first one is
こ
the prefix ko means near the speaker. The next one is
そ
the prefix so means close to the listener, but a bit far from the speaker. The next one is
あ
the prefix a means at a distance from the speaker and the listener. And the last one is
ど
Now this one doesn't refer to a location, but instead is used for question words. Remember these prefixes and their meanings. Now let's move on to the kosoado words that describe places. The word for here is
ここ
there,
そこ
over there. This word talks about a farther distance from both the speaker and the listener.
あそこ
Where?
どこ
Good. Now let's hear an example.
私はここです
This means I'm here.
私はここです
Want to speak real Japanese from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at JapanesePod101.com.
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
すみません
Okay, in this lesson, you'll learn how to say excuse me and I'm sorry.
The best part is you only have to learn one phrase for both.
That's right. There is one phrase that covers both of these meanings. That makes it easy. And that word is Naomi.
すみません
Sumimasen. One time slowly.
すみません
And one more time regular speed.
すみません
So this sumimasen has two meanings. Excuse me and I'm sorry. So the first meaning of sumimasen, excuse me, is used to get the attention of somebody. So that means you can use it to call out to a stranger or a waiter at a restaurant, things like that.
すみません
Excuse me, like that.
So that's the first meaning of すみません
The second meaning, again, is I'm sorry,
あ、すみません
which is, oh, I'm sorry. This is really useful. If you make some kind of mistake, it can all be handled with sumimasen.
Please remember this phrase. すみません水お願いします
In this lesson, you'll learn how to ask for something in Japanese.
There's one phrase you'll learn for that in this lesson.
お願いします.
On its own, you can think of it as meaning please.
Yes, as in menu please, water please, and so on. Okay, so Naomi, what's the formation?
Very simple. Just say the item you want and add お願いします
So that's item plus お願いします.
Exactly. Menu お願いします
Literally, menu please. In more natural English, we'd say, can I get a menu? And the next one?
水お願いします。
Can I get some water? Now, a menu and water are both physical objects, so you can use this お願いします for actual tangible things. But you can also use it for not so tangible things.
Ah, like a service.
Right.
注文お願いします。
注文 is order, and お願いします is like please. So literally, it's like saying order please. You may think it means something like, can I have my order please? But what it really means is, can you take my order please?
So you're asking them to do something.
Yes. Quite handy, this お願いします.
水お願いします。
Cues. Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
ラリーじゃありません。ラリーじゃありません。
I am not Larry. All right? What's the key point here?
じゃありません。The negative form of です。
So the negative of this is ではありません, which is the first way to say a negative form. There's 3 ways. What's the second way, Naomi Sensei?
じゃありません。
And all we did here was get that では from ではありません and shorten it into じゃ. And what's the third way?
じゃないです。
And this is no less polite. It's also polite, but you just got the ありません and you turned it into ない. And ない is the casual version of ありません, but we attached です at the end, so it remains polite. So you could use it to anybody. All right, and all of these expressions are polite. Are there any real differences in the way that you use them, Naomi Sensei?
I would say ではありません is the most polite expression.
Do you ever find yourself using it?
In speaking, not much.
How about in writing?
Writing, I use it a lot.
Okay, Naomi Sensei, so let's be a little negative here.
はい。
Translate all my sentences into negative. 私はロリーです。
私はロリーではありません。
私はロリーです。
私はロリーじゃありません。
私はロリーです。
私はロリーじゃないです。
And those are 3 ways of saying I'm not Dori
はい。
in the same level of politeness.
ラリーじゃありません。うどんは300円でした。
Let's have a look at noun sentences and putting them in their polite past form.
うどんは300円でした。
This sentence, the udon was 300 yen, is a noun sentence and it's in the past form, the polite past form. So if we were just going to say the udon is 300 yen, it would be,
うどんは300円です。
okay, so putting it in the past tense, what changes is the des on the end. It becomes,
でした。
this is pretty simple. So for example, if we were going to say $1 is 100 yen, we would say,
1ドルは100円です。
but was there a time, I think, when $1 was worth a lot more yen?
はい。360円かな ?360 yen.
Okay, so how would we say the dollar was worth 360 yen? Was being past tense.
1ドルは360円でした。
Okay, so you can hear there that the des is becoming deshita to indicate past tense, and this is polite past tense. All right, let's look at just a couple more noun sentences in the polite past form.
ケネディはアメリカ人でした。
Kennedy, you mean JFK?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yep, so JFK was an American.
はい。Since he has already passed away, I used でした。
Okay, so if you were talking about President Bush, you would say,
ブッシュはアメリカ人です。
so I think you probably get the picture now. It's just the difference between des and deshta. That's all that changes in the sentence if you're indicating non-past or past. Because non-past is des and past is deshta.
うどんは300円でした。
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
スーパーがあります。
In this lesson, you'll learn how to say that something exists, as in, there is a blank, and also how to say that you have something.
The same pattern is used for both of these meanings.
Yes, and that pattern is
A があります。
A があります. So let's take a look at the first meaning, talking about something existing. When we say it this way, it sounds really deep, but what are we really trying to say?
Well, it's like saying there is a da 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 in English. Like there's a supermarket,
Or there's a convenience store.
there's a party, things like that.
How about there's a person?
Nope. This pattern is used for inanimate objects only.
Got it. So objects, things, places, anything that's not alive, basically.
Right.
So again, the pattern is,
A があります.
let's hear some examples. How about the ones that we just gave in English?
Okay. Supermarket is super in Japanese. So to say there's a supermarket, we'd say スーパーがあります.
スーパー plus があります. スーパーがあります.
Right. Convenience store is コンビニ. So to say there's a convenience store, we'd say コンビニがあります.
コンビニ plus があります. コンビニがあります.
That's it.
Okay, so like we said earlier, this があります has another meaning,
Yes. And that's the meaning of to have.
as in I have, you have, he has, etc. So to say that you have something, the structure is item plus があります, just like before.
Okay. How about saying you have time? Time is 時間. So to say I have time, you'd say 時間があります.
時間 plus があります. 時間があります. Now you know how to use があります to talk about the existence of inanimate objects and having something.
スーパーがあります.兄弟がいますか?
In this lesson, you'll learn how to talk about the existence of animate objects, that is, people and animals. If you remember, we learned object があります to talk about the existence of an inanimate object and also to talk about having something. This time, what's our structure?
Person or animal plus がいます.
がいます.
Remember that this can only be used with living things, people or animals.
Right.
So Jessie, can you tell us when we'd use this structure?
Well, first, you can use it to talk about someone being physically present.
Yes, as in Taylor is here or the teacher is here.
Right, and that would be covered by person plus がいます.
Right. And how else?
You can also use it to talk about having family members, as in, I have a brother, I have a sister, etc.
Yes. Family member plus がいます.
Let's hear some examples. What's the word for siblings, Naomi?
兄弟.
兄弟, brothers and sisters. So when someone asks you if you have brothers or sisters, they will ask, Naomi,
兄弟がいますか?
兄弟がいますか? Do you have any brothers or sisters? Remember that the か at the end makes it a question.
兄弟がいますか?
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
私は犬が好きです. Let's talk about how to say you like something.
Sounds good. Naomi, can you give us our first pattern?
Sure. The pattern is 私は A が好きです.
私は A が好きです, which means I like A.
You can put anything in place of A. For example, Jessie,
Mm.
what do you like?
Okay, how about this one? 私は犬が好きです. I like dogs.
Ah, nice one. 犬 is dog or dogs, and it goes in a place of A. So, 私は犬が好きです means
I like dogs. How about an example from you, Naomi?
私はカリフォルニアが好きです. I like California.
My home state. I'm happy to hear that. Now, Naomi, here's an important point. The first 私は part is often left out in conversation, right?
Good point. In a conversation, we usually would just say 犬が 好きです。
I like dogs.
Or カリフォルニアが好きです。
I like California. Now, Naomi,
Yes?
what if rather than just like something, I love something and I want to express that in Japanese?
Good question. In that case, 好き becomes 大好き. And you say A が大好きです。
Oh, okay. So for example, チョコレートが大好きです. I love chocolate.
Yes. チョコレートが大好きです。 We are addicted to chocolate.
Definitely.
私は犬が好きです。私は肉が嫌いです。
It's also important to be able to say what we don't like, wouldn't you say, Naomi?
Good point.
私は A が嫌いです.
Yes. 私は A が嫌いです。 I hate A. For example, 私は犬が嫌いです。
I hate dogs.
私は肉が嫌いです。
I hate meat. But again, the first 私は is often left out. One thing to keep in mind is that this word 嫌い means that you really dislike the item. Not just that you don't really like it that much, but that you have a pretty strong dislike for it. So just keep that in mind.
私は肉が嫌いです。
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
これは古いです。 In Japanese, there are two types of adjectives, い adjectives and な adjectives.
In the phrase, an old pen, old is the adjective. In Japanese as well, adjectives can precede nouns. When e adjectives precede nouns, e adjectives come directly before the noun, just as in English.
Old is 古い. Pen is pen. So, old pen is 古い pen.
Now, adjectives don't only come before nouns, they can also come in the predicate. Naomi-sensei, how do you say this is old?
これは古いです。
Let's break down this sentence.
これ
This,
は
topic marking particle, meaning as for.
古い
Old,
です。
formal form of the copula, is, am, are. So literally, this old is. Of course, the sentence means this is old.
古い is an e adjective, and this is its dictionary form.
Now, let us introduce some e adjectives and review their usage.
おいしい
Delicious, tasty.
おいしいチョコレート
Delicious chocolate.
チョコレートはおいしいです。
Chocolate is delicious. Can you give us one more example?
速い
Fast.
車 is car, so 速い車 would be
Fast car.
車は速いです。
Cars are fast. Notice how the dictionary form of e adjectives end with the e syllable.
これは古いです。私は暇です。In Japanese, there are two types of adjectives, い adjectives and な adjectives.
When e adjectives precede nouns, e adjectives come directly before the noun. Na adjectives, however, when they come before a noun, na is inserted between the adjective and the noun. Naomi-sensei, how do you say a special pen in Japanese?
Special is 特別。Special pen is 特別な pen.
That's why this type of adjective is called a na adjective. Now, adjectives don't only come before nouns, they can also come in the predicate.
Right.
Naomi-sensei, how do you say this is special?
これは特別です。
Remember that tokubetsu means special, and it's a na adjective. Next, let's introduce some na adjectives and review their usage. First, we have
静か。
quiet,
静かな車。
quiet car. When na adjectives come before a noun, na has to be added to the dictionary form.
How about this sentence? 東京は静かです。
Tokyo is quiet. Here, Shizuka, the na adjective is used in a sentence, but we don't have the na. That's because it doesn't precede a noun.
Right.
Can you give us one more example?
暇
Free, as in free time.
日 is day. So 暇な日 would be
Free day, a day where you have nothing to do. Na is inserted between the adjective and the noun.
暇な日. How about this sentence? 私 is I. So 私は暇です.
I am free. I have nothing to do.
私は暇です.
Hi everyone, this is Risa. Today we're gonna do 15 questions you should know. Let's go! あなたの誕生日はいつですか？ When is your birthday? あなたの誕生日はいつですか？私の誕生日は3月の7日です。My birthday is March 7th. 今日は私の友達の誕生日だ。おめでとう！おめでとう！ Happy birthday! Happy birthday to you! はい、next! おいくつですか？ How old are you? おいくつですか？結構日本では会ってすぐに年齢聞かれたりすることがあると思うんですけど、もし日本に来てすぐ聞かれてもびっくりしないでね。お元気ですか？ How are you? 友達同士だったらお元気ですかよりも元気って言います。元気元気。お名前は？ What's your name? お名前は？私の名前はリサです。おがつくことでちょっと丁寧な意味になります。例えば返事っていう言葉もお返事っておがつくとちょっと丁寧になります。お名前は何ですか？私の名前はリサと言います。名前はリサです。Polite way, casual way です。これは何ですか？ What's this? これは何ですか？あれは何ですか？聞きたいものが遠いところにあるときにこれじゃなくてあれって言います。あれ。で、そのものが近くにあるときにこれは何ですか？とかそういう使い分けですね。あれこれあれこれあれこれあれこれ。ご出身はどちらですか？ Where are you from? ご出身はどちらですか？私は日本出身です。彼女はアメリカ出身です。彼はフランス出身です。I'm from Japan. She's from America. He's from France. ご出身はどちらですか？トイレはどこですか？ Where is the bathroom? お店に行った時に私もだいたい使うのがトイレじゃなくてお手洗いって言います。お手洗いのがちょっと丁寧で綺麗な言葉なのでみんなだいたいお手洗いって聞いたり、トイレって聞いてもいいんですけどお手洗いのがちょっと丁寧でいいかと思います。お手洗いはどこですか？どこで働いていますか？ Where do you work? もしこれ聞かれた時はどこで働いているか場所を聞かれているのとあと何をしているか両方含んでいる意味なので、どちらでも答えていいと思います。例えばどこで働いてますか？花屋さんで働いてますとかですね。どこで日本語を習いましたか？ Where did you learn Japanese? どこで日本語を習いましたか？ Where did you learn Japanese? 両親から日本語を教わりました。I learned Japanese from my parents. どこに住んでいますか？ Where do you live? どこに住みたいですか？ Where do you want to live? ハワイに住んでみたいです。私は地中海のどっかの島に住みたいです。どのくらい日本語を習っていますか？ How long have you been studying Japanese? どのくらい日本語を習っていますか？ How long have you been studying Japanese? 日本語難しいですよね、きっと。でもなんか人によっては本当に結構短く言葉を覚えれる人がいるので、そういう才能欲しいですね。なんて言いましたか？ What did you say? なんて言いましたか？ What did you say? なんかいろんな言い方あるんですけど、例えば喋ってる時に聞くんだったら何とかえとか もう一回言って。いろいろ言い方はあります。はい。日本に来たことがありますか？ Have you been to Japan? 日本に来たことがありますか？はい、私は日本に来たことがあります。Yes, I've been to Japan. いいえ、一度も行ったことがないです。No, I never been to. But I want to. 行きたいです。日本の料理は好きですか？ Do you like Japanese food? 日本の料理で好きな料理は何ですか？寿司、お好み焼き、たこ焼き。なんだっけ？何があるっけ？どちらでしょう？私は日本の料理好きです。健康で美味しいですよ。電話番号は何番ですか？ What's your phone number? 電話番号は何番ですか？ What is your phone number? 電話番号は090バババブラブラブラブラブラなんとかなんとかです。That's it for today. Today we did 15 questions that you should know. でした。じゃんじゃん。Thank you for watching and subscribe. カットカットカット。うわっ！びっくりした。みんなこんにちは。Welcome to Japanese Top Words. Today's theme is must know expressions for agreeing and disagreeing. 賛成できます。I agree. 賛成できます。I agree. 賛成できます。I agree. 賛成できません。I don't agree. 賛成できません。I don't agree. No! No, 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 no. Say no, no. You're not the one for me. いいね。Sounds good. いいね。Sounds good. 間違いありません。No doubt about it. 間違いありません。No doubt about it. 彼が好きだったのはリンゴかな？それとも桃？どっちだったかな？彼の好きなのは桃ですよ。間違いありません。その通りです。Exactly. その通りです。Exactly. 今言おうと思っていました。I was just going to say that. 今言おうと思ってました。I was just going to say that. それは違います。You're wrong. それは違います。You're wrong. You're wrong. きっと日本以外の国は怖いとこばっかりなんじゃないですか。それは違います。You're wrong. 多分ね。Maybe. 多分ね。Maybe. どう思いますか？ What do you think? どう思いますか？ What do you think? もちろんです。Of course. もちろんです。Of course. Of course. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. Today's theme was must know expressions for agreeing and disagreeing. And if you want to learn more, please go to JapanesePod101.com and keep learning Japanese. Thank you. Bye bye. きっと日本以外の国は怖いところばっかり。Say no, no. You're not the one for me.
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
新しくない
In this lesson, you'll learn how to make the negative form of e adjectives. That means you'll be able to say phrases like not good, not bad, not big, not small, etc. First, let's look at the different e adjectives we saw in the lesson.
大きい
Big,
新しい
new,
古い
old. Notice how they all end in e? That's why they're called e adjectives. Now, how do we make all of these negative, as in not big, not new, not old? Let's go through the steps using the word 古い, old. First step, take off the final e.
古
Then add くない to the end of it.
古くない
That's it. This means not old.
古くない not old
Let's try it now with the word 新しい, meaning new. First, take off the final e. Notice that there are two e's in this word, so be careful.
新しい
Then add くない.
新しくない
This means not new.
新しくない not new
Okay, have you got that? Not so bad, right?
新しくない。元気じゃない。
In this lesson, you'll learn how to create the negative form of na adjectives and nouns.
handsome
Handsome,
and 普通.
ordinary, normal.
Let's look at handsome first. To make this negative, all you have to do is add the phrase じゃない to the end of it. handsome じゃない。
Not handsome. And how about 普通?
普通 plus じゃない。 So that would be 普通じゃない。
Not normal. Not ordinary, maybe?
はい。
Let's introduce some other na adjectives.
元気 is fine, as in I'm fine. So 元気じゃない would be
Not fine, not feeling very good.
簡単 means simple. So 簡単じゃない would be
Not simple, not easy.
Have you got the hang of that?
Now, let's move on to nouns.
This is going to be really easy because you do the same thing for nouns.
Yes, that's right. To make them negative, you just add じゃない after them.
体育館 gymnasium.
Let's pretend I see a big building on the school campus. I could ask, あれ、体育館? Is that a gym?
体育館じゃない. No, it's not a gym.
Not too bad, right?
元気じゃない.
Want to speak real Japanese from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at JapanesePod101.com.
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
よかったです.
In this lesson, you learn how to create the past tense of adjectives. It was. There are two different types of adjectives. They are
い adjectives and な adjectives.
how we conjugate these adjectives depends on the type. Let's illustrate it with an example. Can we have an e adjective?
楽しい
Fun. Now, we're going to conjugate it. First, drop the final e.
楽しい
Now add かった to it, and we get
楽しかった
and this means it was fun. Let's try another example. Remember, it's super easy. To form the past tense of an adjective, we take the final syllable, drop it, and add かった. Naomi-sensei, what's the word for delicious?
おいしい
Drop the final e.
おいしい
Now add かった.
おいしかった
It was delicious. But if you're out with your boss or teacher, how do we say it was fun politely?
楽しかったです
It was delicious politely.
おいしかったです You need to add です to the end.
There's one e adjective we should point out here, and that adjective is
いい
long e, which means good or well. The past form of this is not,
いかった
but rather,
よかったいい becomes よかった for informal past. The formal past would be よかったです
please remember that des only serves to make the phrase polite and is not needed when speaking Japanese informally.
よかったですきれいでした
On to na adjectives. The conjugation is quite simple. For informal speech, just add
だった
to the dictionary form of a verb to get the informal past. For formal speech, add
でした
to get the polite past. I think we can illustrate this best with an example. Naomi-sensei, can we have a na adjective?
暇
Free, as in free time. Now, if you want to say I was free in informal speech, just add だった to the word. Hima becomes,
暇だった
how about I was free using formal speech?
暇でした
I was free. Here, we just add でした to the word. Can we have another example of a na adjective?
きれい
Beautiful. Now, this adjective ends in e, but it's actually a na adjective. It's an exception to the rule you're just going to have to remember. So, it was beautiful using informal speech.
綺麗だった。
It was beautiful. Or he or she was beautiful. Using formal speech.
綺麗でした。
It was beautiful. He or she was beautiful.
綺麗でした。
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
私は肉を食べます。
In this lesson, you'll learn how to use verbs in a sentence.
Yes, this is our first time using action verbs.
We're just going to practice with one verb in Japanese in this lesson.
The verb 食べます to eat.
食べます. All verbs end in mas in polite speech.
Yes. And also, no matter who you're talking about, the verb form doesn't change.
Good point. By that we mean this. In a lot of other languages, verbs change their form depending on who the subject is. Even in English, we would say, I eat, but he eats. It's a minor change, but it is there.
But in Japanese, it doesn't matter who the subject is. I, you, he, she, we, they. The verb stays 食べます.
Nice, isn't it? So, Naomi, what is our pattern for making a sentence with a verb?
It's this. Person, wa, object, o, verb.
And that's 3 parts. Person plus wa, object plus o, and then the verb.
That's right.
Can we hear an example?
Sure. 私は肉を食べます.
I eat meat. Let's break it down.
私は
Watashi, I, plus wa,
肉を
niku, meat, plus o,
食べます.
the verb meaning eat. So the sentence order in Japanese is I, meat, eat. The verb comes at the end. Can we hear the sentence one more time?
私は肉を食べます.
I eat meat.
Okay, how about テイラーは寿司を食べます.
Taylor eats sushi. Let's break it down.
テイラーは
Taylor plus wa,
寿司を
sushi plus o,
食べます.
eats. Taylor eats sushi. So see how the verb doesn't change? It just stays the same no matter who we're talking about. 食べます.
How about I eat pizza?
The person in this case is I, watashi. Pizza is pizza, and eat is 食べます.
私はピザを食べます. 私は肉を食べます.
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
私は家へ帰ります.
So today we're going to have a closer look at the direction particle a, which is used with
行きます、来ます、and 帰ります.
so verbs where you're going somewhere. Now a marks the place or goal towards which the action moves. When a is used as the particle, it's pronounced a, although it's written hey, the hiragana syllable hey, and is placed before the verbs. Now, this particle precedes the verbs to go, to come, and to return.
私は家へ帰ります.
I'm going home. What do we have first?
私
I, followed by
は
topic marking particle, followed by
家
home,
へ
to,
帰ります.
return. So I, home, to, return. I will return home. And of course, this sentence is in the non-past polite. Kaerimasu is the non-past polite version of kaeru, to return. So Naomi-sensei, how do we say to home?
家へ
How about to the station?
駅へ
So topic followed by
は
topic marking particle followed by
place
followed by
へ
direction marking particle and then
行きます
or
帰ります
or
来ます.
and this is the basic pattern.
私は家へ帰ります。電車で行きます。
Let's take a look at the particle de. Particle de is used to mark a tool used to accomplish something.
タクシーで帰ります。
I'll return by taxi. So here, the speaker is speaking, so the subject is actually inferred. So we just leave out that part, watashiwa. Then we have
タクシ
taxi.
ーで
Here, the means, the taxi is used to accomplish something. So taxi is the means, so we mark it with de, followed by
帰ります。
I'll return by taxi.
電車で行きます。
I'll go by train.
地下鉄で行きます。
I'll go by subway.
電車で行きます。
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
会いません。
Making the formal negative is very simple.
Replace ます with ません。
So,
飲みます。
to drink becomes
飲みません。
don't drink, won't drink.
行きます。
To go,
becomes 行きません。
don't go, won't go.
会いません。会いました。
To make the formal past tense of a verb, change mas to mashita.
to do is します。
Drop mas
し、
and add mashita.
しました。
Did.
So します becomes しました。
Naomi sensei, another example.
食べます。
To eat. To form the past tense, replace mas with mashita. So,
食べました。
ate.
So 会います
To meet,
becomes 会いました。
met.
来ます
To come,
becomes 来ました。
came.
会いました。会いませんでした。
Let's take a look at the formal past negative form of a verb. Something like I did not eat or I did not do it. To form the past negative, change mas to masen deshita. So to do in the mas form is
します。
to get the past negative, drop mas,
し、
add masen deshita.
しませんでした。
Didn't do. Okay, how about to eat in the mas form?
食べます。
Replace mas with masen deshita.
食べませんでした。
Didn't eat.
So 会います
To meet,
becomes 会いませんでした。
didn't meet.
来ます
To come,
becomes 来ませんでした。
didn't come.
会いませんでした。
Hi みんな元気 Today's theme is Top 10 Language Learning Strategies. Let's learn. もっとよく理解できるように日本語を聞きながら読む。Listen and read along to understand Japanese better. もっとよく理解できるように日本語を聞きながら読む。Listen and read along to understand Japanese better. Let's learn Japanese. こんにちは。私の名前はリサです。私はお腹が空きました。声を録音して日本語母語話者の発音と比べる。Record your voice and compare your pronunciation with native Japanese speakers. 声を録音して日本語母語話者の発音と比べる。Record your voice and compare your pronunciation with native Japanese speakers. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. 今日はいい天気ですね。あ、オッケーオッケー。ダイアログをダウンロードして日本語の会話を聞く。Download dialogue tracks and listen to the Japanese conversations. ダイアログをダウンロードして日本語の会話を聞く。Download dialogue tracks and listen to the Japanese conversations. Lesson 1, Section 3. Dialogue. 日本語で買い物をしよう。すいません。これはいくらですか？これは3つで300円ですよ。ありがとうございます。買います。毎度ありがとうございます。ピーン。耳にしたフレーズを何度も何度も声に出して練習をする。Repeat the phrase that you hear out loud again and again. 耳にしたフレーズを何度も何度も声に出して練習する。Repeat the phrases that you hear out loud again and again. On the bus. Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Me sitting behind him. That's what I'm saying. 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 Like this. 完璧にマスターするために前に勉強したレッスンを復習する。Review all the lessons to master them completely. 完璧にマスターするために前に勉強したレッスンを復習する。Review all the lessons to master them completely. 人を褒めるときに使う言葉。これもあった、これもあった。これもあったな。もう一回勉強しよう。今日も可愛いですね。LINE by LINE オーディオを使って会話のセリフを一つ一つ復習してリスニングを磨く。Improve your listening skills by reviewing each line of the conversation with the LINE by LINE audio tool. LINE by LINE オーディオを使って会話のセリフを一つ一つ復習してリスニングを磨く。Improve your listening skills by reviewing each line of the conversation with the LINE by LINE audio tool. 今日は公園に行きました。お花がとてもきれいに咲いていました。今度は友達と一緒に行きたいと思いました。ダッシュボードで自分の勉強の進み具合を確認してやる気を保つ。Stay motivated by tracking your learning progress with the dashboard. ダッシュボードで自分の勉強の進み具合を確認してやる気を保つ。Stay motivated by tracking your learning progress with the dashboard. 今日はここまで。明日はそこまで。明後日はそこまで。絶対日本語喋れるようになるんだ。I can do it! まずは文章をゆっくり読む。そしてもう少し早く、もう一度読んでみる。Read the lines slowly at first. Then, reread and increase your speed. まずは文章をゆっくり読む。そしてもう少し早く、もう一度読んでみる。Read the lines slowly at first. Then, reread and increase your speed. あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あ あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あいうえお、あお、あお、あお、あお、あお。締め切りのある小さくて適当な目標を立てる。Set small and measurable learning goals with the deadline. 締め切りのある小さくて適当な目標を立てる。Set small and measurable learning goals with the deadline. 次にレストラン行った時には日本語で注文できるようにするぞ。私が英語を学んでる時にしたのは1日ワンフレーズを覚えるとか、何か単語を一つ覚えるとか、覚えてその単語を使う文を勉強したりしてました。早く上達するように自分のレベルより少し難しいレッスンに挑戦してみる。Try harder lessons to challenge yourself and improve faster. 早く上達するように自分のレベルより少し難しいレッスンに挑戦してみる。Try harder lessons to challenge yourself and improve faster. よし、日本語の曲を全部英語訳してみるぞ。今日のレッスンはここまでです。Today's theme was Top 10 Language Learning Strategies. なんとなく言葉を学ぶのもいいけど、どういうふうに学ぶかっていう戦略を考えると、もっと早く上達するかもしれませんよ。ということで、今日は以上です。Bye for now. See you later.
Want to finally start speaking in your target language? In this guide, you'll discover the top 7 ways to practice speaking on your own with our lessons. Let's begin. Number 1, shadowing. Shadowing is a proven learning technique where all you do is repeat what you hear in order to practice speaking. So access any audio or video lesson on the site and press the play button to start. Then, as you listen or watch, just repeat the conversations. Or, even easier, read along out loud with the dialogue section. The script is right there in front of you. With our lessons, you can master entire conversations, just like that. Number 2, read out loud. I just mentioned it, but reading out loud is another powerful tactic and deserves its own mention. With every lesson, you get written transcripts and translations. So, as you play the lesson, read the dialogue out loud as you hear it. Why? By reading out loud, you're also practicing your speaking skills. You can do this with the lesson notes, the lesson transcript, or the dialogue tool. With the dialogue tool, you can listen to each line again and again, and repeat out loud until you master them all. Number 3, speed up your reading to speed up your speaking. Being able to speak without thinking is a sign of language mastery. If you're talking to a native and can respond quickly, they'll assume that you're fairly fluent. How can you do this? When you read out loud, try increasing your speed a little bit every time. So, start by reading with the dialogue tool. If you're like most learners, you'll read the first line slowly. That's because you're still getting used to the words, which is okay. Reread it. On your second try, you know most of the words, and you'll read a little faster. Reread it again. On your third try, you'll be even faster, at a native speaker's speed. And being able to read these phrases out loud and fast will help you speak fast. Number 4, record and compare yourself with native speakers. In order to sound like a native speaker, you must imitate native speakers. So here's how. Access the voice recorder, which is in the Dialogue Study tool in every lesson. Click on the microphone icon. Listen to the native speaker's audio, and then record yourself. You can then compare the 2 recordings side by side, and practice and try again and again until you perfect your pronunciation. Number 5, get feedback from our Premium Plus teacher. If you're learning by yourself and don't have access to real teachers, then you can always get feedback from our Premium Plus teachers. With the My Teacher tool, you can record yourself speaking and send the audio file to the teacher. They'll review it and tell you what to improve and how. That's it. Number 6, level up your speaking with Premium Plus assignments. With Premium Plus, you can also get assignments that cover reading, writing, listening, and even speaking from your teacher. These assignments can be tailored to your goals and needs. You get a new one every week, or anytime you're ready for a new one. Number 7, get even more lessons in the lesson library. If you want even more lessons on speaking and conversations, visit our lesson library and under Category, choose Conversation. You'll get all of the pathways and lessons that are focused on speaking. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share it with anyone who's trying to learn a language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. And if you're ready to finally learn language the fast, fun, and easy way, and start speaking from your very first lesson, get our complete learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Click the link in the description. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Hi everybody, Hiroko here. Welcome to Ask a Teacher where I'll answer some of your most common Japanese questions. The question for this lesson is, why is the hiragana ha sometimes read as wa? So when I introduce myself, I say, Watashiwa Hiroko desu, meaning I'm Hiroko. The sentence has 2 wa sounds. The first one is written as wa, but the second one uses the hiragana ha. So what's going on with this? The hiragana ha is usually read as ha. For example, hai meaning yes, and hajimemashite meaning nice to meet you. However, when it's used as a particle, it's read as wa. The hiragana ha in the sentence watashi wa hiroko desu is used as the topic marking particle. So you need to read this as wa, not ha. It's because the sound made by this character has shifted over time. The ancient Japanese people pronounced it as fa, but around the 9th century it began to be said as wa. Even though the sound changed, people continue to use the character in the same way when writing. However, after the war, the government decided to renew the spelling rules so that all ha letters read as wa sounds were replaced to wa, except the particles. So the particles keep their traditional spellings until now. So this letter is pronounced as wa when it's a particle, but also in one other common situation, when it's used as the last letter of the greeting phrases, such as konnichiwa meaning good afternoon and konbanwa meaning good evening. Those two use the hiragana ha at the end, but the sounds are wa because this wa was originally a particle. Other than the particle wa, the sound of wa is spelled as wa in hiragana. For example, wakarimashita meaning I understood. Got it? I'll show you one sentence in English and Japanese. Try to read it. Are you ready? The answer is 私は春が好きです meaning I like spring. How was it? Not that bad, right? I hope this makes sense to you and you not confuse the multiple readings of hiragana ha from now on. Do you have any more questions? Leave them in the comments below and I will try to answer them. またね! Hi everybody, Hiroko here. Welcome to Ask a Teacher where I'll answer some of your most common Japanese questions. The question for this lesson is, why is the hiragana u used to extend an o sound? You might have been puzzled by the way certain words are spelled in Japanese. For example, the word for good morning is spelled o, ha, yo, u, but the actual sound is ohayo. The last two syllables, yo and u, aren't pronounced as yo, u, but as yo with a long vowel, o at the end. So what's going on with this? The long vowel o is pronounced for twice as long as the short o. There are two combinations to make this long vowel, which are two of the hiragana o characters in a row, and a character ending in an o sound such as ko or to plus an u. For example, oki is pronounced with the long vowel o because it has two o sounds at the beginning. Ohayo is also pronounced as ohayo with a long vowel o because the last two syllables o sound in yo and its following u makes a long vowel o. Any character with an o sound can be extended in this way by following it with an u. For example, arigatou, meaning thank you, becomes arigatou. How about tokyou? It becomes Tokyo. In this word, the u is used to extend two syllables. Just remember, even though you can lengthen an o sound with another o or a u character will be used most of the time. Knowing this, you'll be able to make a good guess, but just like English, you need to learn the correct spelling of a word. How was it? I hope this makes sense to you and you were able to read the long O sounds correctly from now on. Do you have any more questions? Leave them in the comments below and I will try to answer them. またね! Hi everybody, Hiroko here. Welcome to Ask a Teacher where I'll answer some of your most common Japanese questions. The question for this lesson is, what does this mean? This is called a copular and it's the same as am, are, and is in English. For example, これは本です means this is a book and この本は面白いです means this book is interesting. Let's break down the sentence この本は面白いです。この本 means this book and は is a topic marking particle. 面白い means interesting and des is a copula. So it's literally as for this book, interesting is. But its natural translation is this book is interesting. This is the same as is in this case, but it's placed at the end. In Japanese, verbs come at the end of a sentence. Therefore, this, which works as a linking verb, is always placed at the end of a sentence. So a very basic English sentence, A is B, would be A wa B desu in Japanese. It really is that simple, so try not to overthink it. Lastly, have you ever had your Japanese friend say, これはお土産です, giving you a souvenir? Your friend meant this is a souvenir for you. Then you might have a question. Does this des include the meaning of for you? No, des is just the same as is. It just implies for you from the context without any specific word saying it. Again, des is just same as am, are, and is in English. I hope this makes sense to you. Do you have any more questions? Leave them in the comments below and I will try to answer them. またね!
Want to speak real Japanese from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at JapanesePod101.com.
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
紅茶を飲みませんか?
Today's grammar point is Naomi-sensei.
ませんか?
Verb plus masenka, and this phrase is used to extend an invitation. So let's have an example.
紅茶を飲みませんか?
Would you like to have tea or English tea? In English, it would be, would you like to have some tea? But in Japanese, really the literal translation is, won't drink tea? There's no subject in there, but of course it's implied. So let's just go through the sentence. First, we have the object, which is
紅茶
marked by the object marking particle,
を
followed by
飲みません
the negative present polite form of
飲む
to drink. So nomu becomes,
飲みません
this is followed by
か
sentence ending particle indicating a question. So 紅茶を飲みませんか?
はい
Would you like to have tea?
紅茶を飲みませんか? 食べましょうか
The focus of this lesson is mashoka, which is used to politely suggest or propose or invite. And this creates a very polite expression that could be used to make a suggestion, a proposition, or an invitation to someone of higher status. So you could think of it as why don't we or shall we in English.
The formation is quite easy. 優しいです。簡単ですね。Just attach ましょうか to the must stem of a verb.
All right, for example, tabemasu is to eat. So drop mas,
食べ
and it's called the mas stem. Attach mashoka to the mas stem.
食べましょうか
Shall we eat?
行きます
Is to go. Shall we go?
行きましょうか聞きます
Is to listen. Shall we listen?
聞きましょうか
What's to do?
します
Shall we do?
しましょうか
Okay, Nami-sensei, shall we finish?
終わりましょう食べましょうか
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
何食べる？じゃあ、トースト食べる。
So Japanese verbs can be divided up into 3 different classes. Class 1 verbs, Class 2 verbs, and Class 3 verbs, or Class 3 verbs are also called irregular verbs. Class 1 verbs are the most common.
そうですね I think there are more class 1 verbs than class 2
So Class 1 verbs sound like 何々imasu,
そうですね I sound plus mas
like 行きます, 話します, 飲みます, 待ちます. You can hear that imasu sound. And when you put them in their dictionary form, which is what we're looking at today, you drop this imasu and you add u.
そうです So mas becomes a
And what about 行きます?
ikimas becomes iku
and hanashimasu.
話します。話す。
Okay, so I think you can probably see the pattern emerging there. Now, class 2 verbs are also known as ru verbs. And this is because when you drop the mas and add ru. And examples of some class 2 verbs are tabemasu
食べる。
and mimasu
見る。
and nemasu.
寝る。
The last class is the class 3 verbs, the irregular verbs. Now, there are not very many, unlike English. So for now, all you have to do is remember shimasu and kimasu.
はい。
So if we're looking at the dictionary form, which is the subject of today's grammar point, shimasu becomes
する。
and kimasu is
来る。You have to memorize them.
yeah, but seeing as how there's really only 2, other verbs sometimes misbehave. But for now, just remember shimasu and kimasu become suru and kuru.
はい。
何食べる？じゃあ、トースト食べる。
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
ケント、学食行く？
行かない。
In this lesson, you will learn how to create the negative form of class 1 verbs. You'll be able to say things like, I'm not going to verb or I don't verb in informal Japanese.
Now let's introduce some common class 1 verbs and show you how to make them negative.
Sounds good.
The first one is 行く.
To go. Here are the 2 steps for making the negative. Take away the final u and add anai to the end.
So the final ku sound becomes かない. So 行く becomes 行かない.
Ikanai doesn't go, don't go. How about an example sentence for that word?
今日は学校に行かない.
I'm not going to school today. How about another verb?
Sure. The next one is 飲む.
To drink. So take away the final u and add anai to the end.
So the final mu sound becomes まない. Therefore, 飲む becomes 飲まない.
Nomanai doesn't drink, don't drink. How about an example sentence for that one?
ビールを飲まない.
I don't drink beer.
Okay, so let's do one more. 使う.
To use.
This verb ends in う. So it is a little special.
You take away the final u and add wanai to the end. There is a w in there, wanai.
Right. The final う syllable becomes わない. 使う becomes 使わない.
Got it. Can we hear an example sentence for this one?
コンピューターを使わない.
I don't use computers.
Have you got the hang of it? Remember, take away the final u and add あない to the end.
ケント、学食行く？
行かない。
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
ケントはテレビを見ない.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to create the negative form of class 2 verbs.
Class 2 verbs are even easier to conjugate than class 1 verbs.
Right, with class 1 verbs, if you remember, we had to take away the last u sound and then add anai on the end of it.
Yeah, and there are many kinds of endings for class 1 verbs, like ku, tsu, su, mu, and so on.
The easy thing about class 2 verbs, though, is that they all end in ru.
Right.
Now, not every verb that ends in ru is class 2, but every class 2 verb does end in ru.
That's right. And to change it to the negative form, all you have to do is change ru to nai.
That's it, just one step. Let's try it on some verbs, shall we?
Sure. Let's take the verb 見る.
To watch.
Change る to ない. So 見る becomes 見ない.
To not watch.
Here's another one. The verb 起きる.
To wake up.
Change る to ない. So 起きる becomes 起きない.
To not wake up.
And one more. The verb 食べる.
To eat.
Change る to ない. So 食べる becomes 食べない.
To not eat. I think it's pretty straightforward, don't you?
I think so. So now, let's jump into some sample sentences.
Sounds good. How about one using 見ない to not watch?
ケントはテレビを見ない。
Kent doesn't watch TV. Let's break this down.
ケントは
Kent plus topic particle は
テレビを
TV plus object particle を
見ない。
doesn't watch. Can we hear another sample sentence?
Sure. 私は甘いものを食べない。
I don't eat sweets. Let's break down this one too.
私は
I plus topic particle は
甘いものを
sweets or sweet things plus object particle を
食べない。
don't eat. Altogether, I don't eat sweets or I don't eat sweet things.
ケントはテレビを見ない。1時に食べる。
In this lesson, you'll learn how to say what time you do something.
You learned how to say what time it is. Do you remember?
Here's a quick review to refresh your memory. To tell the time, you add じ to the number of the hour. For example,
1 is 1. So when you add じ, it becomes 1時
1 o'clock.
and so on.
Right, so now that we remember how to say 1 o'clock,
1時に食べる。
can we break it down?
1時
1 o'clock.
に
Particle に used for time.
食べる。
To eat.
1時に食べる。
I eat at 1 o'clock.
Right. You need the particle に after the time.
How about some real life examples now, Naomi Sensei? What time do you go to sleep?
1時に寝る。
So you go to sleep at 1, I would say 1 a.m.
So,
right?
right. And for you, Kat, so what time do you usually get up on a weekend?
On the weekend? I don't really want to answer this, but 週末は10時に起きます. I get up at 10 a.m. on the weekend. Or later.
1時に食べる。
Welcome to Learn Japanese Grammar, Absolute Beginner. In this video series, you'll learn basic Japanese grammar patterns and phrases through easy-to-follow audio and visual cues. Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
大丈夫。大丈夫。
Okay, all right, no problem.
大丈夫。大丈夫。
I can tell you that this will be one of the words you use most in Japanese.
That's very true. We use this word all the time. You can use it as a question. 大丈夫? You have to use a rising intonation to make it a question.
To answer in the affirmative, though, make sure the intonation doesn't go up. 大丈夫, just like that.
So let's say that I see Kat having trouble with something. Using informal Japanese, I could say, Kat 大丈夫? Are you okay, Kat?
大丈夫. Yeah, I'm fine. So as you can see, nothing changes but the intonation here.
Also, I should point out that what we are asking about depends on context.
Good point. Just asking 大丈夫 is like a general, are you okay? But depending on the situation, it might mean, is it okay? Or is this okay? Etc.
Or is this good?
Exactly, yeah.
大丈夫。まどかはサッカーをしない。
In this lesson, you'll learn how to make the negative form of class 3 verbs. Class 3 verbs are the irregular verbs in Japanese. And the good news is, for those of you who have studied European languages, is that there are only 2 of them.
はい、そうです。する
To do
and 来る。
to come.
Okay, first, let's look at する。
This means to do. Now, usually this word comes after a noun and makes it a verb, right?
That's right. 電話 which is phone or phone call.
So 電話する would be to make a call.
はい。挨拶 a greeting like こんにちは or おはよう。
So 挨拶する would be to greet someone.
So now that we know a lot of verbs, let's make the negative. in the negative, する becomes しない。
Class 3 verbs don't follow any rules. They just have irregular forms that you have to remember.
そうです。So now, let's make some sentences.
Let's talk about sports first.
Okay? まどかはサッカーをしない。
Madoka doesn't play soccer.
今日、ケントはサッカーをしない。
Kent is not going to play soccer today.
So that's not so bad, is it? Just change する to しない。
Okay, and there's one more class 3 verb.
来る
To come. What's the negative form of this one?
来ない。
So again, just an irregular form that you have to memorize. Can we hear some sample sentences?
Sure. 明日、学校に来ない。
I'm not coming to school tomorrow.
So 来る just becomes 来ない。
Right, exactly.
まどかはサッカーをしない。
Want to speak real Japanese from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at JapanesePod101.com.
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
買って、
In this lesson, we'll introduce how to make the te form of class 1 verbs. Now, Naomi-sensei, first we should explain what the te form is.
Right, そうですね。
The te form is a form of the verb that ends in te. The te form is used in many intermediate and advanced grammatical constructions.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to create the te form from the dictionary form.
The conjugation rules for class 1 verbs vary depending on the final syllable. For verbs that end in u, tsu, or ru, those endings become
te,
small tsu and the te syllable.
そうですね。To buy is 買う、
So we drop the u ending and we have
か、
now attach te to form the te form.
買って、
Notice that there's a stop before te. One more time, Naomi-sensei.
買って、
So it's not
買て、
it's.
買って。
Okay, can we have a verb that ends in tsu?
To stand is 立つ、
So we drop tsu and replace it with
て、
so.
立って。
How about class 1 verbs that end in ru?
To turn is 曲がる、
Drop ru and replace it with
て、
so.
曲がって。
On to a different ending. For verbs that end in the syllable ku, that ku becomes.
いて。
Naomi-sensei, can you give us a verb that ends in ku?
To write is 書く、
So the te form is.
書いて、
Drop the ku and replace it with.
いて、
For verbs that end in gu, the ending becomes.
いで、
So, Naomi-sensei, how do you say to swim?
泳ぐ。
So, how do we get the te form?
Replace ぐ with いで。So, 泳ぐ becomes 泳いで。
However, there's one exception. The verb to go, iku.
Right. 行く becomes 行って in the te form.
That's the only irregular conjugation. Next, we'll look at verbs that end in mu, bu, or nu. The te form for verbs that end in mu, bu, or nu is nde. That's a standalone n sound, n plus de.
Right. To drink is 飲む. It ends in む.
So we replace mu with nde.
飲んで
Okay, can you give us a verb that ends in bu?
遊ぶ to play.
Bu becomes nde. So,
遊んで
and for verbs that end in nu, we only have one verb that ends in nu in modern Japanese,
Right. The verb is 死ぬ
to die. The nu becomes nde. So,
死んで
okay, the final rule. Verbs that end in su become shite in the te form.
Right. 話す to speak ends in す. So 話す becomes 話して. "買って"
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
食べて
In this lesson, we'll show you how to make the te form from the dictionary form.
Let's start with class 2 verbs.
For class 2 verbs, all you need to do is change the final ru to te. Let's illustrate with some examples. Naomi-sensei, can we have a class 2 verb?
Sure. 食べる to eat.
Drop the final ru syllable,
食べ
attach te to it,
食べて
and that's it.
Right.
Can we have another example?
Sure. To get up is 起きる
Drop the final ru, replace it with te, and we get?
起きて
Fortunately, class 2 verbs are really simple to conjugate. Just replace the final ru with te.
Right. 食べる
To eat,
becomes 食べて起きる
to get up,
becomes 起きて見る
to see,
becomes 見て寝る
to sleep.
becomes 寝て
Okay, on to class 3 verbs. Class 3 verbs are irregular, so the te forms must be memorized. Remember though, that there are only 2 class 3 verbs. They are
する
to do and
来る
to come.
する becomes して and 来る becomes 来て
Can we hear them again? What's the te form of the verb suru?
して
How about kuru, to come?
来て
Okay, let's recap with a quiz. The quiz will be multiple choice. We'll give you a question and 3 possible answers. Your job is to guess the answer. First question. Which of the following is the te form of the verb kuru, to come? Listen closely. A,
聞いて
B,
来て
C.
切って
The answer is
B 来て
the verb kuru, to come, becomes kite in the te form. 2 syllables, kite. How about choice A?
聞いて聞いて is the te form of 聞く to listen.
And it's actually 3 syllables.
Right.
Ki-i-te. So it's long. Ki-te. How about choice C?
切って切って is the te form of 切る to cut.
And it has a short pause in there. Kitte.
Right. 切って
That concludes this lesson.
食べて
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
僕は仕事をしています We'll be focusing on the usage of te form of a verb plus いる or います
It's like the ing in doing in English.
Mm.
To make this construction, we put the verb in the te form and add
いる
or
います
the polite form. For now, we'll stick to formal speech. So let's use imas for this lesson.
僕は仕事をしています
Literally, I'm doing work. It means I'm working or I'm doing my job.
The original phrase is 僕は仕事をする I work.
To form the present progressive, the ing, change the verb suru to its te form.
So する becomes して
Then we add imas,
しています
doing. So
僕は仕事をする
I work becomes
僕は仕事をしています
I'm working.
How about this sentence? 私は朝ごはんを食べる
I eat breakfast. So let's change the verb to eat, which is
食べる
the te form is.
食べて
So add imas,
食べています
eating.
So 私は朝食を食べています
I'm eating breakfast. And in this sentence, the person is actually in the middle of doing the act. Let's try it with another verb. How do you say to take a picture?
Picture is 写真 To take is 撮る So 写真を撮る
To take a picture. Okay? Let's change the verb toru to take to the te form.
撮って
Add imas,
撮っています
taking,
写真を撮っています
taking a picture.
一郎さんは写真を撮っています。
Ichiro is taking pictures. Now let's form a question sentence. How do you say, what are you doing?
Isn't that a big jump?
Not for Japanese.
Okay, let's start with 私は仕事をしています。
I'm working.
The yes-no question would be 仕事をしていますか?
Are you working?
Then replace 仕事
Work.
with 何.
What?
So 何をしていますか?
Literally. What doing? Of course it means, what are you doing?
僕は仕事をしています。
Cues. Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
来てください。
In this lesson, you'll learn how to ask someone to do something using the te form of a verb plus kudasai, which enables us to make a polite request. Okay, Naomi-sensei, how do you say to come?
来る。
The te form is?
来て。
When you use the te form by itself, it indicates an informal request. So, kite means come, as in come here. By adding kudasai to the te form of a verb, you can create a polite request. So,
来てください。
means please come. Let's do some more examples. How do you say to turn?
曲がる。
The te form is?
曲がって。
It's an informal request to turn. And please turn is?
曲がってください。右に曲がってください。
Please turn right.
左に曲がってください。
Please turn left. How do you say to go?
行く。
The te form is?
行って。
And it means go. Informal request, go. Please go is?
行ってください。まっすぐ行ってください。
Please go straight.
降りる。
To get off. The te form is?
降りて。
Sample sentence, please.
秋葉原で降りてください。
Please get off at Akihabara. The particle de, as in Akihabara de, indicates where the action will take place. Okay, what's the next verb?
出る。
To leave, to go out. And the te form is?
出て。
Sample sentence, please.
改札口を出てください。
Exit from the kaisatsuguchi. Now, kaisatsuguchi means ticket entrance or ticket gate. So, to exit from the ticket gate. Finally, we have
気をつける。
to take care, to pay attention, to be careful.
気 means spirit, feeling, or attention. つける is to attach.
So this phrase literally translates to attach your attention. In natural English, it would be pay attention or be careful.
そうですね。気をつける。And the te form of つける is つけて。So, 気をつけてください。
Please be careful. Maybe in this situation, take care is a more appropriate translation.
そうですね。
This phrase you'll hear many times. It's kind of like a parting greeting. 気をつけて, like take care.
来てください。
Here's what we'll cover in this lesson. Ready? Let's get started.
行かないでください。
In this section, you'll learn how to tell someone not to do something. To tell someone not to do something, we put the verb into the informal negative form and then add de. If you want to make a polite request, add de kudasai to the informal negative form.
The informal negative form of a verb is often called the nai form.
The explanation we just gave you may have sounded a little complicated, but I think once we illustrate with some examples, it'll become very clear. Naomi-sensei, can you give us a verb?
Sure. 行く to go.
What's the corresponding informal negative form or the nai form?
行かない。
Won't go. Change the ku to ka and add nai, so iku becomes ikanai. Won't go. To say don't go, you add de.
行かないで。
This is the shortened form of please don't go. If you want to say please don't go, add kudasai.
行かないでください。
Please don't go. Let's do one more example. Can you give us another verb?
する
To do. The nai form is
しない
won't do. To say don't do, add de.
しないで
And how do we say please don't do? As in please don't do that or please don't do this?
しないでください So 遠慮する is
To hesitate, to hold back.
So 遠慮しないでください is
Please don't hold back or please don't hesitate.
心配する is
To worry.
So 心配しないでください means
Please don't worry.
行かないでください